Teachers, in this tutorial, we are going to go over how to make tests and quizzes inside of Canvas. This is actually a very simple process, and it really pays off in the end because this does grade all the students' work automatically right there in the program. So the first thing to do is to click on one of your courses that you're teaching underneath the dashboard, whichever one you want to create that quiz or test in. Now, Canvas labels it quizzes, but really it's anything that you're doing for an assessment. This can be common assessment, formative assessment, semester test, any of those things really would work. So click on quizzes. And inside of quizzes, you simply just click create quiz by hitting this plus button at the top right to start creating your quiz. Now this is actually when you're ready to give the students a quiz, you would start here. But I want to show you a way that you can organize your questions a little bit better using something called question banks. So what I want you to do is go ahead and create a quiz along with this video and pause and move along slowly. Go ahead and click on this little gear to the right and where it says manage question banks. Basically what we are going to do first is we are going to create the questions for the quiz. Then we are going to create the quiz that we give to the students. The reason that we do this is that it organizes the questions much better so that if you make a summative test, like a semester test, it is all organized so you can pull only certain questions from certain past tests or quizzes. So go ahead and click on Manage Question Banks. So all we've done is went to Quizzes, and at the top right, we click this gear, and we went to Manage Question Banks. Alright, now you get to this window. Obviously, to create a question bank, we click this button over at the top right that says Add Question Bank. And it pops out this little window here, and it says Name the Question Bank. So I'm just going to say Quiz 1. Now, you have to hit the Enter key on your keyboard for it to save. There's nowhere to click. So just click or hit Enter on the keyboard, and you'll see it's saved there. Now to create questions, all you do is you click on the title that you gave that question bank, and you're ready to start adding questions. On the right side, you can see where it says Add a Question. This is where you're going to start. So just click on Add a Question, and you just start there. Now, this is where you choose what type of question you are giving the students. If you want here, you can say what number question it is or whatever. You can just leave this to say question. On the right side, you have many different options for questions. Multiple choice, true, false, fill in the blank, fill in multiple blanks, multiple answers, multiple drop downs, matching, numerical answers, formula questions, which is great for math, essay questions, file upload questions, and text with no question. So let's just do a simple multiple choice question. Now, as you can see, you get this full editing toolbar up at the top to create your question. So inside the question, we could actually record ourselves, either our voice or our picture and voice for our students. You can insert YouTube videos directly here, TED Talks, pictures, URLs, tables, and then you can just write whatever you'd want, and you can organize this and set it up however you would wish to do so. You can do exponents and subscripts and superscripts with these buttons here. So all you would do is you'd simply write in your question. Let's say that I want to have a picture in this question. So all I would do is click on this little image here where it says embed image. Then I'd have three choices: URL, Canvas, or Flickr. Now the easiest one to do is Flickr. So if I click on Flickr, I can look up the word fire. And here's fire. And I can click on this and come down here and say update. And now you can see I have fire in my question. And I can click and drag the edge of it to make it smaller. I can come here underneath, I can say what type of energy does the picture represent? All right, and so there's my question. What type of energy does this picture represent? And down here I could put the question. So I could say mechanical, thermal. Let's just say that those are the two. And you can keep going. You can add as many as you'd like. And then I just say, okay, this one here is my correct answer. And I'm done with that question. It's as simple as that. I would say update question. And now you can see I have one question that says, what type of energy does the picture represent? And I have a picture posted there. Now I can simply just add another question by clicking add question. And I could say, what are the two types of energy? And then I can type the two types here. Space. And obviously that's not a correct answer. And water. So the options are potential, kinetic, space, or water. Well, obviously this is not a multiple choice question. This would have to be a multiple answers. So I just change it to multiple answers, and I would say, okay, these two are correct. Now, to get this question correct, students would have to choose both of these answers. Then I'd just say, and update question. And now I have this question and this question in my question bank. I would just continue to do this until I created all the questions that I would like for quiz 1. And you might have a different title for this depending on how you label your quizzes. So now that I have all the questions that I have created for that quiz, I would just on the left side of your course menu, I would click on quizzes. And as you can see, we still don't have any quizzes. We actually just have question banks. So since we have a question bank now, we would go ahead and start to create the actual quiz. So by clicking that plus quiz button, you'll be taken here. Now this is very simple. Now you've already created your questions. All you're doing now is you're creating the settings for the quiz to push out to students. So let's just say that this is the energy quiz. And right here I could put instructions for the quiz. You can give encouraging ideas to the students there, or you can give them instructions of what to do after the quiz or whatever. Down here, you can choose your quiz type. Well, graded quiz is going to put it in the grade book inside of Canvas. Practice quiz is not going to put it in the grade book, but the students will see correct and incorrect answers. You'd also use it for surveying, but most of you guys will probably just do the graded quiz. Then we can go down and we can choose some options. We can say, okay, I want all the answers to be shuffled. I want there to be a time limit. Maybe you want them to allow multiple attempts for that quiz. So if you check multiple attempts, they'll be able to take that quiz as many times as they want to, unless you allot them a certain amount of attempts by clicking this and then denoting a number. If you do not do this, they'll be allowed to take it as many times as they want. The cool thing here is on the kept quiz score, you can choose from the highest, the latest, or an average of all. So again, if you want them to limit them to an amount of attempts, choose allow multiple attempts and then limit them by the amount of attempts here. And then you can denote what score to keep. Then we can say, let students see their quiz responses. This is going to let them see their answers right after they get done with their test. You can set it up for only after the last attempt, only after each attempt, so they won't be able to actually go back to it. Or let students see the correct answers, and then only after their last attempt. So if you don't check this, they're not going to be able to see their responses at all. If you check this, and then that means that they're going to be able to see what they answered. If you check this one, it's going to let them see the correct answers. Now the cool thing about this is you can say, okay, I want the correct answers to be available to the students on this date and then hide on this date. So you can really denote when they are able to see those correct answers. Now this one's pretty neat. Show one question at a time. So if you click on this, it'll only show one question every time that they hit next, they'll get to a new question. Now this is good because a lot of state tests and EOI tests are given through one question at a time, so that might prepare students for taking those tests. Quiz restrictions are really nice. This is something I highly suggest you do, is especially require an access code. Once you click on this, it asks you what access code you would like. The practice that I do is I just randomly type something on the computer that the kids are not going to be able to remember. And I make this the access code. And when they come into my class, I have them pull up the test environment on their Chromebook, open up the quiz, and once everybody's in the area where they type in the quiz access code, I write it on the board. And once they all hit enter, I erase it off the board. And that way they're not going to remember that code to tell any of their classmates. But I can always come back to this section in the quiz to find out what the code is. Or one way teachers are doing this is each hour they come back here and they change this code. So however you choose to do it, this require an access code is a good practice. This next one is filter IP address. This one's kind of neat. This one will prevent them from taking the quiz on any internet except for the school's internet. So that means if they go home, they won't be able to access the quiz. So to do this, you check this box here, you click this magnifying glass, and then you choose Taken at School. That will fill out with a number, and that will keep them from doing the quiz at their house or on any other internet than the school's. And just like assignments, you have the assign option at the bottom. So it defaults to everyone. You can click in here and assign it to just sections or independent students. You can give it a due date by clicking on the little calendar. And then if you fill in these boxes here, that's going to give you an open and close date for students' ability to view. If you leave them open, they'll be able to get it and access it at any time. Before we hit save and publish or save at the bottom, we need to apply questions to the quiz that we created. So all we do is we scroll back up to the top, and then you'll see on the tab next to settings, you'll see questions. This is a very fast process now that we've already created our question banks. On the right side, you'll see find questions. You'll just click there. And you'll see I have quiz 1 as a question bank. As you build more and more question banks, you'll see more and more tabs on the left here. Now I can say, okay, select all questions from quiz 1 and add them to my quiz. And as you can see, now I have my settings all set up. I have all my questions, and now I can save and publish, and my students can take the quiz. And the reason that we add questions this way is that it becomes a lot easier to create summative tests where you want questions from independent quizzes or tests because they are organized in question banks. So if I was creating a semester test, I would take all the quizzes that I have given to my students and I would go through and select a couple questions from each quiz and I would say add to my semester test, and you would be able to create a semester test very easily. And then in the coming years, when you export this data into a new course for the next year, you will be able to very easily find the quizzes that you gave to the students and add those questions to that quiz rather than having an entire quiz bank of every question that you have ever assigned your students. In review, we went to our course, we went to quizzes. We started by clicking this gear and saying manage question banks. We created a question bank and hit enter. We clicked in here and we created questions by going to add question. We chose the type of question. We gave the question text here and the multiple choices or the type of question that you're asking for here. And we went to update question. And we just continued to add questions this way to build our test bank. One thing you need to know is for those of you that ask for essay questions or questions that a computer cannot grade, Canvas will grade all the questions it's able to, and it will tell you that you have quizzes to grade that have questions that you need to actually put input in. Once you have created all these questions, all we did is went back to quizzes. We said add quiz. We gave the quiz a name. We gave it instructions. We went through the settings. Then we went to questions and we said find questions. You would find questions from that quiz. You would add them. and then you are ready to save and publish, and the students could take that quiz. I hope this video helped. I know it was a lot of information. Please rewatch and pause and do it along with it so that you can better be prepared for creating quizzes and tests for your students. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a great day.